Sorry. Deputy Gerry Adams, please.
Ceann Comhairle agus caithim ar dus go bhfuil mé lása agus leis an Taoiseach faoi an rud millseach a tharla le phobal Japan agus ó sin féin táid ag smaoinemh faoi muinsear an tír seo ag an uair millseach seo. I'm also very minded that there were two small earthquakes on Ceann Comhairle in England recently, one in Cumbria, which is where Sellafield is, and perhaps this is an issue which the Taoiseach might want to bring up with the British authorities, but our thoughts are with the people of Japan at this dreadful time in their lives. Like many other deputies, I've been back in my constituency and been hearing, as I'm sure all of you have, the tales of misery caused by the universal social charge. I know the people in County Louth are very oppressed by this tax, and it's all the more so because they're being asked to pay this tax in order to pay off the price of the banking debt. And I read, and I'll read it so that I don't misquote, remarks from the Finance Minister, at least from one of the Finance Ministers, Michael Noonan, and I quote, "We are explaining to our Europe..."
To interrupt you, this is a leader's question, so you put a question, please, to the Taoiseach.
Ceann Comhairle, you didn't interrupt the other speaker.
I did. I want to make it quite clear this is leaders' questions, and we put a question to the Taoiseach. So I'd ask you to do that on a topical issue.
I am putting a question. The Minister of Finance is quoted as saying, "We are explaining to our European colleagues that there's a certain point where a combination of the sovereign debt is manageable and the bank debt put on top of it, we reach a point where the sustainability of the situation becomes doubtful." Now, Sinn Féin has been saying this from day one. So there are two questions to the Taoiseach. Does he agree with the Minister of Finance? When does this become doubtful? When does the sustainability of the situation, as the Minister has said, become doubtful? And once again, is he prepared to allow a referendum on this issue so that the people can have their say?
Thank you, Deputy Taoiseach.
You've asked a number of questions there. First of all, I will raise the issue of the incident in Cumbria that you mentioned. I don't have the full details of that, but I'd be happy to raise it with the British Prime Minister whenever I have the occasion to meet with him. The government have agreed in our programme for government to carry out a review of the universal social charge before the budget in respect of 2012. This is having an impact for thousands of people, but particularly those at the lower end of the scale, and it's in respect of that category that I feel that something needs to be done, and in that regard we will review this situation. I do share the view of the Minister for Finance in respect of his comment, and that's exactly where the discussions are at the moment. The meeting of the Eurozone leaders was in respect of debt sustainability, and on this country's behalf, and given the situation that exists here, the position was made perfectly clear. In my view, Deputy Adams, a referendum was held in the general election on this matter, and a very clear mandate was given to this government to improve the terms in respect of the circumstances that we find ourselves in on behalf of the Irish taxpayer, and that's where our entire focus is going to be.
Deputy Adams.
And with respect, Taoiseach, the question is very, very simple. If, and you have agreed with the Minister, the combination of the sovereign debt and the banking debt is not sustainable, when will that be? And what are you going to do about it? I can predict that the interest rates will be reduced. We needn't talk about the corporation tax. We were told during the Lisbon Treaty that the corporation tax wasn't an issue, it would not come up again. So the real question is, the Minister of Finance saying that this is not sustainable. So when is that so? We're riding into a crisis, what our party warned of during the election campaign. When does it become unsustainable, and what do you do about it?
Well, you'll be glad to know, Deputy Adams, that the conclusion of the meeting on Friday was that that which is contained in the statement issued, that it was agreed that countries in the package of the EFSF would have their interest rates reduced. That has not applied to Ireland because of claims for conditionality that are being attached to it. So I can't speak for other European leaders, but I do speak to them and speak with them in respect of what they might say about corporate tax rates or anything else. As you're aware, the Commission will publish a paper, as is their right, on the Common Consolidated Corporate Tax Base. They have full entitlement to initiate legislation, and I can't stop them, nor can you. But in respect of that, I said that obviously we would participate in discussions, but our view is absolutely clear, both in respect of the CCCTB and the corporate tax rate. The question of the debt being sustainable, we've made this point on many occasions. The problem for our country here is that we are able to deal, albeit with a challenging position in respect of the difficulties arising from our own economy. But it is the question of the cost of the banking structure that places the real burden on our people. And it's in there that flexibility and change and adjustment has to take place. And that's exactly where the focus of the discussions is and will be as we prepare for the meeting of the 24th and 25th and beyond.
Thank you, Taoiseach.
It's a deal, which is a bad deal and which you need to end. You're dodging the question.
I'm calling on Deputy Joe Higgins.